Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Monique and today I will be talking about anger, all while getting this look. Am I voguing? Anyway, please hit like, subscribe, leave comments, and if you want to know about anger and the 5 types, keep watching. So guys, let's just get into it about this thing with anger while I get this face right. I want to start off by saying that anger is actually a healthy and important emotion. I say that it's important because anger actually, it helps us sense when something is not right, when something's wrong. When something don't sit too well with you. For example, it can be something that happens to you directly or indirectly. And, you sitting there and you're like, this is not cool. I'm not cool with this. I'm feeling some type of way about it. And the reason why you're able to feel that is because anger will trigger that feeling of not being cool with something. And so in a perfect world with perfect people, the healthy response to that is if something happens and you identify immediately what you're feeling, you know that you're not feeling right about something, you feel like it's wrong, somebody made you mad, and you address it. If it's a friend that upsets you, you go to them and you have a discussion. You let them know how you feel. It's resolved whether, they agree with you or not, but you get it off your chest appropriately. It's not nothing where you have to go off. You have a calm but assertive discussion and boom, done. If it's something that's indirect, meaning, for example, there could be, let's just say, some type of social injustice, right? And that social injustice, it's triggered by some horrific incident with someone that you do not know, you've never met in your life, but you hear the story about it, you're very upset, because again, it's that feeling of, this is not sitting right with me, I'm not cool with this, this is wrong. So you hear about it and then you get involved in some type of movement. You may protest. So that's the healthy way of dealing with anger. But let's just keep this real. How many of us really deal with our anger that way? The first type of anger is passive anger. And I refer to that as poker face. That's the type of anger where you're angry about something, you feel like somebody did something, and you are pissed. It's sitting in the pit of your gut and it's festering, but you won't even acknowledge it. You won't acknowledge that it's there. You're like, you won't even talk about it, not even when you're by yourself. You know how sometimes we'll be mad and we'll be sitting there by ourselves and we have a whole discussion with ourselves about why we mad at who and what we did, what they did, and what we gonna do, and blah blah blah. You don't even do that. It's just festering. It's just sitting there, and then eventually you explode. Let's say it's an office mate and everybody knows that you drink caramel macchiatos, but you drink skinny caramel macchiatos. So one day this coworker, they decide to bring you just a regular old caramel macchiato. And they hand it to you as a nice gesture and you lose your ish. You go off and they're sitting there looking at you like, all right, well, hell, I won't bring you no coffee no more. But really, it ain't even, your anger, it's not even about the coffee. You're not mad at them about the coffee. A way to deal with that type of anger, it's a really good idea to vent to somebody. You need some type of outlet. And venting, go to a trusted family member or a friend and vent to them. Let them know what you're mad about. how you feeling about it. Or do some type of physical activity. Go run, kickboxing, boxing, but you have to do something. The second type of anger is vengeful anger. It's referred to as vengeful anger. Oh, this is like my little MAC eyebrow stuff, because my eyebrows look crazy. I have to get them done. I call a person who has vengeful anger, I call them the plotter. A plotter is someone that, you know, something happens, a person does something to them, they feel like what they did was just really wrong and out of pocket, and that person can actually even apologize. There can be a discussion and that person apologizes, but the plotter is still pissed off, and so they plot their revenge, and they become fixated on just different themes and ideas on how they're gonna get that person back that did them wrong or did them dirty. It almost takes over their life in some cases when it's extreme. Because they sit and they'll play out different scenarios in their head. Now those type, they will have conversations to themselves, by themselves, in their head, outside their head, because they just plot. Because when the opportunity comes for them to get their revenge, they take it. But the problem with that is sometimes the opportunity don't always present itself. So then what do? That's a solution for as I refer to them, a plotter. Work on possibly forgiving that person, because like I said earlier, at the end of the day, the opportunity may never present itself, and then you're really wasting energy and time sitting there playing all these scenarios in your head trying to get back at somebody, especially if they apologize but you still mad. Also, another thing, if it's really hard to forgive that person who you feel like just so wronged you, try and refocus your energy. Try and get involved in something that has nothing to do with you. Try and do something that kind of gets you, that pretty much will get you out of your head. So the third type of anger, it's called or referred to as petrified anger. I call it bitter Betty or bitter Bob, bitter Betty, bitter. This type of anger, people who hold this type of anger, I need to get these eyebrows done. Again, something happens, the person they feel like has wronged them, and it's hard for them to let it go. It's hard for them to move past it. And it's hard for them to move past it because they're waiting for an apology. That person either knows they did something and they don't care, they're like whatever, or they don't know that they did something. And so you sitting there, you mad, you can't let it go, you hot. Now the people like this, they tend to be, they have a certain type of hatred. They'll hate that person, or they're just bitter. Yeah, bitter Bob, bitter Betty, bitter Bob, bitter Betty. Either go see a therapist, or you can choose to forgive that person, regardless to if they give you an apology or not. Which, especially if you don't get that apology, because the opportunity, it may be that person's dead or you've lost contact, so you really ain't gonna get no apology from them. At the end of the day, forgiveness is for you. It's not for them anyway. So it's not even a conversation you have to have with that person. And forgiving them, it would give you permission to forgive yourself as well for walking around being bitter and nasty in the first place. The fourth type of anger is chronic anger. Chronic anger, I call it the mean mugger. You ever meet those kind of people that just walk around mad, they look mad, they be mean mugging you, they wake up pissed off. You just sitting there like, hey, what is wrong with you? And they can't even tell you what's wrong. So these type of people, they hold anger for months. They hold it for years. They mad. They wake up mad and they go to sleep pissed off. That's the mean mugger. They tend to isolate themselves, you know, and sometimes it's intentionally, sometimes it's unintentional, because they're so nasty. Their energy is so nasty that no one wants to be around them, or they don't want to be around anybody because they sitting over there. They sitting up mad. Tell me this, you guys. Have you ever been around somebody and they don't have nothing nice to say? Everything that come out their mouth is negative, and you just be sitting there like, shut up, you know. And by the time you leave them, like let's say if you go out with them or something, by the time you leave them, and you go home, you feel exhausted. It's almost like you have to take some sage and sage your damn self, or go and take like a bath in Epsom salt or something with eucalyptus in it, because you feel drained. You feel like, ugh. The solution for them to, you know, work through that chronic anger that they have, that no nasty growl they have, I suggest, and studies have also shown this too, an anger management support group and therapy. I think a combination of both. Definitely with them, someone, you know, a licensed therapist, you should go see to work through it. So the fifth and final type of anger is actually, it's the most dangerous type of anger, and that is the volatile anger. And I call that type of person, a person who has that kind of anger, I call them Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And this is exactly how it sounds. That type of anger is usually found in men. It's a little bit more common in men, or someone who has struggles and challenges or a history of substance abuse. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, they will come out of character really quick on you. Their character shift, their mood will shift like boom. So what that looks like, I think is easier if I explain actually what Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde look like in this case. So let's say, for example, you and your man, you guys are going to a basketball game. You're at the basketball game. You're at the concession stand. So at the concession stand, you order a Coca-Cola, he orders a beer, right? So while the cashier is getting you guys' food and drinks, you know, your man he's chopping it up, he's smiling, you guys are, you know, going back and forth, good times. Cashier comes, give you your food, give you your drinks, and he's like, oh, thank you. He takes a sip of his drink. It ain't beer, it's Coke. He flips out. That same cashier that he just said thank you to, he loses it. He calls her out her name. He's cussing her out. It can even go as far as him throwing the drink at her, just throwing it across the counter. He completely loses it. So Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde will come out of character really quick, and they become verbally and physically aggressive to a situation that's not conducive to that type of behavior. In all honesty, you guys, a solution for Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, if it ain't you, if it's not you per se, the solution, run, 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 run. If it is you, then it's not someone that you know. You need to seek professional help. You know, you definitely need to get in and see a licensed therapist that specializes in, or have some type of training or specialty in anger management, exploring the underlying roots in it, you know, getting it out of you. You need someone licensed and know what they're doing that can work you through that anger. So yeah, there you have it. Those are the 5 types of anger. Well, the 5 types of unhealthy anger. And I just want to say again that anger in its natural, raw form, it's actually a very healthy emotion, and it's important. What makes it unhealthy is what we do when we become angry, our response to it. That's the unhealthy part. That can even be, you know, it can be, it can even be the dangerous part. So that's my spiel on anger and what it looks like and the different types of anger. Do y'all deal with y'all anger in a healthy way? Or does any of the 5 unhealthy types of anger sound familiar to you guys? Or as I was talking about it, did it make you think about somebody? Did it ring a bell? Like, what do you guys think? How do they say? Leave a comment down below. Leave a comment down below. I would really be, I want to know. And also, if there's, you know, any topic that you guys would like for me to cover or just touch on, do you want me to show more of the makeup I'm using? Because I don't think I was putting everything up to the screen, or even, you know, incorporate a little bit more of the techniques that I use or how I apply my makeup or whatever in this discussion, because it's gonna stay on mental health, but I can definitely put stuff, you know, plug in little makeup stuff, since I am sitting here doing my makeup, having this discussion with y'all. Let me say this right quick. Why, when you doing mascara, why we go like this? Like you know, our lips are in the way. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up with this. At the end of the day, regardless to what type of anger you identify with, the end result of it in moving past it and truly just, you know, saying, okay, I'm done, it is forgiveness. And like I said earlier, the whole thing with forgiveness, a lot of people get it misconstrued thinking, oh, well, they ain't say sorry, or they didn't ask for it. They don't have to ask for it, because like I said, forgiveness is not for them, it is for you. It's you taking your power back. Conversation you have with yourself, you say, you know what? I'm not gonna allow you to affect me anymore. I'm taking my power back. I'm not going to allow the sight, the thought, or the mention of you to shift my mood. That's my power, and I'm taking that power back. I'm not giving it to you no more. I don't wish you no harm. Go on with your life and be good, but I'm not doing this with you no more. Because here's the thing. Just because you forgive somebody, that don't mean you gotta have them in your life. That's a whole nother series. I'll do it if you want me to. But that's the one thing that all of the different types of anger have in common. The end result is for sure forgiveness. You know, everybody should strive daily to be the best version of themselves. You know, and you can't do that if you're harboring all of this anger, any negative emotion really, and you don't know how to get it out. So, as my face is done, I don't think it looks too shabby. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch little old me, and I hope you learned something, and I hope you got a little understanding about yourself or about someone else who you're dealing with, who, you know, got anger issues. And just remember, at the end of the day, honey, stay beautiful and sane. Y'all have a good. You mad? Huh? What you mad for? You mad or not? Listen, let's get this space together, put some clothes on and get out of here. We don't fester in anger over here, honey.